Coming up in today's video, we're going to be talking about some of the biggest stories surrounding WWE and AEW, and these topics got me very, very excited. Guys, we're going to talk about it all in today's video with the timestamps in the description down below, and if you guys are new here, go ahead and click that subscribe button. John Cena has been confirmed for his WWE return. Obviously, we are headed to WrestleMania, and now it appears that WWE is advertising that John Cena is set to appear live on WWE Raw on March 6, 2023 in Boston, Massachusetts, which is also known as the TD Garden. That's the arena that they're going to be in. John Cena will be competing on WWE Raw or cutting a promo on WWE Raw. And more than likely, this is for WWE to set up the great potential match of Austin Theory versus John Cena at WrestleMania. Now, this is a match that I think we've all known for a while it was probably going to happen. We were all kind of wondering, how is WWE going to go about setting up this match? Obviously, they've planted the seed a while ago with John Cena arriving on television. And of course, this is one of those big dream matches that we've all been talking about for a while. So here's the cool thing. John Cena is going to be on Raw. We know that. Two, we know that more than likely he is going to be going up against Austin Theory. And the reason for that is because Austin Theory did retain his United States Championship. Now the question poses, will Austin Theory have to defend his belt against John Cena, or will he lose his belt before WrestleMania kicks off? And I like this. I like this a lot. I think WWE has a very big matchup here. This could be a career-defining moment for Austin Theory. And for those people who are critical of, Austin Theory losing Money in the Bank, I try telling everybody to be patient and look at what has happened here. We're now in a situation where Austin Theory is going to have a massive match against John Cena. And I think the storytelling is going to be off the chain if John Cena is on television, at least on a weekly basis. But if John Cena just shows up on March 6th and he calls out Theory, they set up the match, and we don't see him, that's going to be pretty disappointing. I really want to see what WWE is going to do here, but John Cena is confirmed for a WWE return. What's really interesting is another WWE superstar who was released is also talking about a return, and I want to talk about his comments publicly. We are talking about Lio Rush. Now, Lio Rush was on, it was like a signing, it was like a live signing with K&S WrestleFest, and the question was if he has plans to work with WWE again. He did reply, I stopped trying to plan things. Plans don't always come out the way you want them to. We're just along for the ride. Yeah, I'm not against it. I'm not against anything, really. Now, the reason why I find this to be such an intriguing story is because we have seen Lio Rush leave WWE. He was very disappointed with all of that. We saw Lio Rush go to AEW. That didn't work out. Then he came back to AEW, and it still didn't work out. He was very, very critical of Tony Khan, and I thought he was rightfully it was rightfully so. Now Lio Rush is talking about a WWE return, and the question remains, is WWE interested in bringing in Lio Rush? Now, the thing is, I think Lio Rush is a hell of a talent, and obviously whatever he was going through in life prevented him from being the best that he could be, and obviously he had to step away from wrestling. And I understand I'm going to see a lot of comments, and people are going to say he is unreliable. However, I think one thing that people don't realize when it comes to just not just wrestling, but pretty much any sports or entertainment company, the talent that work for those companies, especially WWE or AEW, who is running the company and who is taking charge in that company could very well change the way you feel about the company. And I know from my own personal experience by working in the corporate world, before I decided to do YouTube full time, the one thing I always noticed was sometimes you have really good bosses and sometimes you have really bad bosses. And when you have a great boss, you want to work for them. You want to work with them. You want to grow the company. You want to do big things. When you have a boss that is not inspiring and he's just a boss, there's a difference between a boss and a leader. And I just noticed in my own personal experience, when I had a true leader that I was working with, especially in my position that was a little bit higher up, I felt more inclined to do a better job. I felt like I was appreciated. I felt like I want to see the company succeed. When I was just being bossed around, no, that's not the feeling that you get. And I feel like in wrestling, that actually translates really well. Tony Khan and Triple H and Vince McMahon, they're all different types of leaders. And I think, Lio Rush obviously benefited the most while working under Triple H in NXT. We saw what he was doing with the Cruiserweight division. In fact, I would even say that Lio Rush was doing a hell of a job with Bobby Lashley. I just don't think Vince McMahon knew what to do with Lio Rush. And I don't think Tony Khan knew what to do with Leo Rush. We've seen historically Tony Khan is signing people, and that's pretty much all there is to it. So there's no plan or no direction. I'm not saying Leo Rush should come back to WWE and be a world champion. I think there's a lot of other talent I would prioritize. But to sit there and say that Leo Rush would not be successful in WWE or AEW is ridiculous. And I feel like that's one thing where he can fit well in any of these companies. He's done some great stuff, across the pond. If you want to go to Impact, I would support that. I just think it takes a specific leader to do something very good with Leo Rush, and I just don't see a lot of people wanting to or being able to work with him unless they have a plan. And I think Triple H is kind of the guy where, like, if you want to bring Leo Rush in, he can do something with Leo Rush and have a plan for Leo Rush. I'm not saying it's going to be main eventing WrestleMania. I'm not saying it's main eventing Extreme Rules, but I'm saying he could probably find a place on the card for him, and it would be a good thing. So I'm very curious to see what happens here if Leo Rush decides to ultimately return to WWE, but it's definitely a thing to pay attention to. I understand a lot of people may have decided to, kind of turn their back on him. But of course, don't forget, mental health and physical health are always very important. It's more important than wrestling. It's more important than your job. So Leo Rush had to get himself right. Now he's right. He's a hell of a talent. I don't think there's much I could say other than that. Guys, I want to turn our attention to AEW because it appears that there is a new trademark filing that hints at a new show that's on the way, which is very interesting because we've talked about different trademarks that AEW has filed for, especially when it comes to a new television show, and those shows have yet to premiere. However, now AEW has filed the trademark to AEW Collision, and the use is for entertainment services, and this was obviously done with the USPTO. So now the real question is, what is AEW Collision? The trademark registration is intended to cover the categories of educational and entertainment services, namely a continuing program about wrestling, accessible by radio, television, satellite, audio, video, and computer networks, entertainment services in the nature of live wrestling performances, entertainment services in the nature of production of wrestling programs and events, and there's much more to that. Now, the real question here is, what is Tony Khan's plan with AEW Collision? We've heard rumors about a women's show. We saw a filing in the trademarks for that. That never came to fruition. Is AEW doing a recap show? Is AEW changing Dark Elevation and just changing the name of it? What exactly is Tony Khan planning here? And will we hear something about this very soon? Don't forget, on this upcoming episode of Dynamite, Tony Khan has a huge announcement. Is this huge announcement in regards to this, or is Tony Khan going to announce the ROH thing? What is going to happen with AEW? Is AEW doing too much? Personally speaking, I'm okay with more shows. I've said this before. I'm okay with more shows if there is a plan attached to it. If you're just doing something for the sake of doing something, it ain't going to work out. But I think Tony Khan might have something really cool in the works here. I'm excited to see what happens. With that being said, guys, make sure you click that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.